Hello, friends. Welcome back to Heartscapes, where we're learning the system of Reiki to be rooted, to be spacious, to be connected, to remember ourselves. And welcome back to day 4 of our journey through the practices of Sanmitsu, the three mysteries of body, breath, and mind, the three realms of mystic practice within the esoteric Buddhist traditions that underpin the system of Reiki. My name is Michaela. Glad to have you back here with us on this journey. So we are in day 6 of this practice. You can check out the previous day's recordings in the link below if you want to get caught up with where we are now. But we've been working through this week practices that lead with the body, that looking at the system of Sanmitsu as one that brings our attention not only to the capacities of our body, of our energy and our breath, and of our mind, but also the interconnectedness of those things. And the fact that when we bring our attention to all of these aspects of ourselves working in harmony together, then we are at our full capacity and able within these traditions to journey towards an enlightened state or a state of remembering our true self, which in this tradition is one and the same. So again, there's a variety of points of context for that in previous videos, but we're going to jump right back into practice for today. The last 2 days, we were working with a practice that uses a sweeping gesture of the arms and a series of mudras that come down the front of the body through the three diamonds, the three energy centers of the belly, the head, and the heart that we work with inside the system of Reiki. And bringing our focus to different points of this practice, bringing our attention to different mudras in different ways. So we began with the cosmic mudra at the hara. We worked with that 2 days ago. And then we came to the gaso mudra at the head. We worked with that yesterday. In those practices, we were also including a mantra, a series of sounds, of vocalizations that really bring that movement of the body, that intonation of the voice, and the focus of our mind together in this practice. For today's variation on this, we're going to allow these gestures and this practice to lead us into something that is quintessentially from the system of Reiki specifically. We were working with a practice from Tai Chi. We were working with a practice from esoteric Buddhism. Today, we're transitioning into a practice that is very explicitly from the system of Reiki, and that is the practice of Tenohira, or hands-on healing. For many people who have encountered Reiki or have practiced or learned Reiki, Tenohira is really the main focus of the practice. Many of us think of the system of Reiki as a practice of hands-on healing. And what we learn as we practice Reiki from the perspective of its Japanese origins is that Tenohira, or hand healing, is just one of 5 elements of the system of Reiki, which is directing us again towards this goal of embodying the precepts of remembering our true self. And in this case, using the inherent healing quality, the inherent ability of touch to draw our attention inward to the physical body. Again, the physical body being the vehicle of our spirit, of our soul, of our divine nature and connection to life. And so the practice of laying the hands on the body, either ourselves or another person, we'll be working with ourselves today, and focusing our attention on that physical connection, focusing our attention on our breath in a particular pattern, not only brings us into the practice of Tenohira, or of directing Reiki through our hands, but it also, again, aligns these 3 aspects of ourself, these 3 essential ways in which we experience the world, these essential ways in which we experience our divine nature and connection to life, integrates them together and brings them into an increased state of capacity, which truly is the point of all of these practices. So we're going to be doing a little bit of Tenohira today. We're going to draw on a little piece of the practice we did yesterday to help to guide our attention in this way. And I want to make one more footnote for the folks watching. So in this particular series, We have a small collection of folks who are walking through these practices with us, who are in our classes, who've been walking this journey of Reiki with us for a long time, and who are very familiar with these perspectives. And then we're also sharing these videos out to a broader audience through our YouTube channel. And so for many of you watching in that venue, I know that you might have a different perspective on who can do hands-on healing, what conditions need to be present for a person to do this practice. Namely, that a person needs to have been attuned to the system of Reiki by a Reiki master in order to be able to access Reiki in this way. You might be watching and not having had an attunement from a Reiki master, and you might be thinking to yourself, I can't do this practice. Or perhaps you're thinking that I shouldn't be sharing this practice broadly out to the general public. So I want to share that from the perspective of Reiki's origins, we think about this differently. We think about Reiki as what we inherently are, what we are made of, that we essentially are spiritual energy or Reiki. We already have it. We do not need to be given access to it by anybody. It's already your nature. It's already what you're made of. You can already access it. And we already feel it and experience it in a wide range of ways in our daily life. What the value of attunement, what the value of working with a teacher, working with the system of Reiki, the various practices is to train ourselves to focus more intently on these connections, to understand the philosophy underpinning it and the ways in which these practices guide us to a very particular outcome. But you don't need to have been attuned in order to do some gentle, loving touch with yourself and to be drawing on Reiki in doing that. I just wanted to just set that little disclaimer. If you have questions about that, if you have contentions with that, if that feels off to you or that feels very resonant to you, I'd love to hear about it. You can reach out to me or drop a comment down below. I'd love to have a conversation about it. Okay, that's enough talking. Let's get into our practice. So we're going to begin by just working again with this sweeping gesture we were doing the last couple of days. We're going to remove the mantra in this case. We're just going to work with the breath and with the gesture. We'll do a few rounds of this gesture and then we'll pause a little bit and then we're going to move into the Tenohira, the hand, the palm healing part. And we're going to just see how these two can relate to each other. So as always, we're going to begin by settling our body into a posture that is supportive of our practice. In this case, you can be standing or you can be seated. This one, we're going to be emphasizing the kind of upper parts of this gesture. And so you can do this perfectly well seated, but you can also do it standing if you'd like a little bit more range of motion, or if you just feel like standing. Either way, we're going to cultivate a posture where we feel well supported. So if we're standing, our feet are rooted nicely in the ground in an easeful, supportive stance. If we're sitting, we're going to make sure we're nice and square on our seat. Perhaps our feet are on the ground, or if we're cross-legged, that we're feeling very secure and stable in this position so that we know in our body that we are stable, that we are supported, and that we have a strong foundation on which to build this practice. And so just taking a couple of moments, a couple of breaths to make any adjustments that you need to feel that sense of support, that sense of uprightness, your body easefully upright, rising from the hips. Noticing if you're holding any tension in your body and taking a couple of breaths to intentionally relax the muscles. In particular, relaxing the muscles of your chest and your belly. Letting your shoulders be soft and loose. Letting go of any burdens you might be carrying on your shoulders today in this moment. And through this posture of an upright, well supported body and a relaxed chest and belly and shoulders, we can bring our breath into this posture by allowing the inhale to move freely in and down, letting the belly expand with the inhale, contract with the exhale, allowing our body to take up a little bit more space as we breathe in, allowing the breath to move our body gently and naturally. And then we can bring our mind into this posture by resting our attention on the sensation of the breath moving in and down, drawing our attention back from all the places we've spent it today, resting in our belly, focusing our attention in the first diamond at the hara, this rooted, grounded place, this home of our true self. And then bringing our hands to gasso at our heart, prayer position with the hands together. This coming together of opposite sides of ourself into a unified space at the heart. Letting ourselves feel the balancing of this gesture and setting an intention to be in practice together today. And then on your next round of breath, you're going to inhale as we have just been doing, following the breath in and down to your belly. And then as you exhale, beginning to sweep your hands, bringing them down to the belly and then out to the sides and up over your head. The hands meeting again in gasso at the top of your head and then coming down the center of your body back to your heart. And you're going to move at the pace of your own exhale so that that full range of motion happens in the fullness of your exhale. So again, we'll breathe in, drawing our attention inward to our belly. And as we breathe out, the hands come down to the belly, sweeping out to the sides, coming together above our head in gasso again, and then bringing those prayer hands down the center of our body, past our head, and resting back at the heart as we complete our exhale. And as you continue this gesture, you're following the gesture with your mind as you go. And so we're going to just do this at our own pace a few times. Again, just kind of modifying your pace as you go so that the gesture follows the fullness of your exhale. So breathing into your belly, breathing out, bringing your hands down to the belly and then sweeping to the sides, up over the head, hands back together, coming back down the center of the body and resting again at the heart as you complete your exhale. Let's do about 5 repetitions of that at your own pace. And on the completion of the round that you're on, coming to rest at your heart, your hands in gasso, taking a breath here. With your attention resting on your hands and this flow of movement from your belly up and around and back to your heart, invite you to turn your hands right where they are and rest them on your chest, on your heart space. So moving from your hands in gasso, pressed against each other, to resting at your chest. And again, let's take a good breath in and down, letting our attention follow the breath into our belly. And this time, without making the gesture, as we exhale, we're going to draw our attention up from the belly and into the hands, into this place of connection between your hands and your body. And we'll take about 3 breaths here. Again, breathing into your belly, and we're letting our attention follow the breath with each movement, so that as we breathe into the belly, our breath follows the belly, our mind follows the breath, our attention comes into our belly, this rooted and resourced place. And then as we exhale, our mind follows the breath back up and then rests, focuses on our hand touching our chest. So we're shifting our attention with the breath from our belly to our hands. Inhale to the belly, exhale to the hands. And so now we'll take those 3 breaths into silence. And then as you complete that 3rd breath, shifting your hands to your head, and you can hold your head anywhere that feels comfortable. So perhaps at the back of the head, or one hand at the back, one at the front. You can be at the top of your head. You can be resting on your cheeks. So wherever would feel comfortable, or perhaps wherever your hands feel drawn. And again, these 3 breaths into the belly, drawing our attention into the belly on the inhale, and on the exhale, moving to the hands and to the point of contact between your hands and your head. And then coming to the end of that 3rd breath, it's going to invite you to notice, ask your body perhaps, where would you like a little bit of attention? And choosing your next hand placement, wherever your body is asking for a little bit of attention, a little bit of loving touch, a little bit of focus. Letting your hands rest on this place. And another 3 breaths into the belly and out to the hands. I'm going to invite you to shift your hands again, or you can leave them where they are if you're not ready to be done with that place. But finding another round of three, wherever your hands want to be. As you're readjusting, I just want to say for those of you who are practicing along, who have been in this way of practicing for a while, so I'm thinking specifically of the 5 of you who are registered for this class, who are in our year-long program and have been journeying this way of practicing for some time. There's a way in which this practice we're doing today is very simple. It's very basic. It's very introductory in a certain sense. And so your task, your special assignment here is how to bring this simple introductory way of practicing Tenohira to a deeper level in your practice. Is there a way in which your mind can be even more focused on the movement of the breath? Is there a way in which you can notice a little bit more deeply the impact of this attention, or something else that is coming to you fresh as you return to this foundational practice? It's important that we return to foundational practices as we journey through something like this, because there's always a fresh experience to be had, an initial experience to be had every time we spiral around these fundamentals. And so, wherever you are in your practice, resting your hands where they've been called and taking those 3 breaths into your belly and out to the hands and to the point of connection between your hands and your body, the rest of your body, I should say. Let's take one more breath in this way, right here. And then to close our practice, from wherever your hands are right now, we're going to again, as we inhale into our belly and exhale, we're going to again sweep the arms to the sides and above, back to Gasso and back down to our heart. So on your next round of breath, breathing into the belly, and as you breathe out, drawing your hands over to the sides, following the pace of your exhale up above your head, bringing that Gasso, those prayer hands, down to your heart, resting here for a breath. Noticing how you feel in this moment. Sending a bit of gratitude to yourself for choosing to tend to yourself in this way, in this time. Gratitude for these practices that have come to us through many hands, through many hearts, through many voices. And when you're ready, releasing your hands and coming back into this space. Welcome back. I will share something that I noticed as I went through this, again, foundational practice, right? Simple foundational practice that we can return to again and again with new eyes. I've shared with those of you who've been working with me for a while that I've been working through a lot of hip pain. It's something that I often return to, and often I'm working with my right hip in when doing Tenohira practice. And I've been recently working with a chiropractor who's been addressing the issues that are causing this hip pain. And as I was going through today's practice, I became just joyfully aware, this just smile hit my face that I did not need to address my hip, that my hands were not being called to my right hip for the first time in a long, long time that I've been in Tenohira practice. It always is a place that's calling for some attention. And I was just very aware as I was noticing, what the impact of the practice was, that I was not needing to address that place. And so I was really grateful for the opportunity to notice that, because I might have missed it. I might have missed that there was this shift in something that had been so consistent for so long. So I really appreciate that opportunity to notice that, and the opportunity to spend some time offering attention in my Tenohira practice to other parts of my body that were asking for it. So that's what I noticed today. All right, my dears, we will be working with this same practice again tomorrow. So again, our pattern is to do a little bit of introduction at the beginning of each week of these 3 weeks, and then work with practices that focus on first the body. Next week, we'll transition to the breath and the voice, and then the mind, keeping in mind that all of these practices integrate all 3 of those aspects. They're just leading with one or the other, or sometimes a very even blending of all 3 of them. So we're paying attention. What is it that is being focused on? Where are we experiencing an integration of these 3 ways of experiencing life and the world? And what is the impact of that? So as you move through your day, I invite you to notice, what is the impact of just taking this tiny bit of time to focus on this practice, to offer a little bit of loving, focused touch in this way, and just notice what impact that has on your day. And as you do, may you be deeply provisioned for that noticing and for that journey. Hope to see you again in our next round of practice. Thanks so much for being with us. We love you. Goodbye.